Ukraine's air defense hunting missiles are about to see a huge boost in capability, so let's take a minute to talk about why. Ukraine's been operating America's AGM-88 HARM, or high-speed anti-radiation missiles, since at least last August. That's when the first pictures of shrapnel and debris from the AGM-88 surfaced online from the Ukrainian theater. Now, these anti-radiation missiles are often confusing for some because we've sort of been culturally conditioned to be afraid of the word radiation. But in this context, we're talking about electromagnetic radiation. And another term for that in this case might be radar waves. In other words, these missiles have a seeker on board that hones in on the radar waves being broadcast by enemy air defense systems, destroying those radar arrays and making it impossible for them to guide a missile into a target. Now, Ukraine has been launching these American-made AGM-88s from their Soviet-made MiG-29s and Su-27s. And that causes all sorts of problems. You see, you can't just bolt a missile to the wing of an aircraft and expect it to work. The missile has to actually be connected to the targeting systems inside the cockpit for the pilot to be able to use them and launch them when they want to. But Ukraine has engineered a sort of temporary fix for this. Back when I worked in racing, we used to call this cob jobbing or Mickey Mousing. It's basically when you use what you have available to create a temporary but far from perfect solution. Now, because of this, Ukraine's AGM-88s have been limited to only one of their 3 standard operational modes. Ukraine has only been able to use them in what we tend to call pre-briefed mode. Now, pre-briefed mode means that you program a target area into the missile well ahead of time. You then launch it, usually from pretty long range, and this can be a very effective way of suppressing enemy air defenses, especially when you launch a whole bunch of these missiles at once. They basically fly to that designated target area that you programmed in, where they power on their radar seeker and start looking for enemy air defenses that are trying to target the launching aircraft or any other aircraft in the area. Now, this is very effective for suppressing enemy air defenses because air defenders will usually power down their radar arrays when they know HARM missiles are in the area. And as a result, you can basically operate in that contested airspace while that HARM missile threat is still viable. But as soon as the threat passes, those enemy air defense systems can power their radar arrays back up and start jet hunting again. And that's why it'll be so valuable to leverage these missiles with F-16s being supplied by the Netherlands and Denmark. When using an aircraft with standard NATO bus connectors that can actually integrate into the onboard avionics, you unlock 2 more operational modes for the HARM missile. These additional modes are usually called the self-protect and the target of opportunity modes. The self-protect mode involves integrating the HARM missile with your onboard radar warning receiver. So as you're flying your F-16 around in contested airspace and the radar warning receiver realizes that you're being targeted by an enemy radar array, it immediately relays the exact location of that array to the HARM missile. It then notifies the pilot that the HARM has a target and says, you might want to launch this missile so you can take out that enemy array before it takes you out. Now, the target of opportunity mode is similar, but it doesn't use the onboard radar warning receiver. Instead, you fly around with the HARM's anti-radiation seeker online at all times. And when that seeker identifies an enemy radar array powering up, it lets the pilot know that it's got a target it wants to go after. The pilot can then say, yeah, go for it, pulls the trigger, and goodbye air defense system. Now, these will provide new options to Ukrainian fighter pilots trying to suppress or destroy Russian air defenses. In fact, it'll make it easier to shift away from just suppressing these air defenses and destroying them when you can, to destroying them far more regularly. And this is just one of several ways F-16s will shift the way Ukrainian forces are fighting in the sky. And I have a deep dive written piece going up on Sandboxx News and an in-depth video talking all about it that'll go up this Friday.